So here we have Microsoft Surface Laptop Go 2, an attractive, slim and light 12.4-inch laptop with a touchscreen that could be very well this year's best buy for students and light users. Now this is Microsoft's entry-level Surface device with a budget price tag. Now when I think of budget laptops, I think of thick, heavy, bulky laptops that feel incredibly cheap, have terrible screens and poor battery life. But Microsoft have come out blazing to prove me wrong. Now this cute little laptop may not be the fastest on the block, with a 11th gen CPU, 8GB of RAM and a measly 128GB of SSD. But with this laptop coming in less than most modern phones, the specs are actually pretty decent. Rather than focus on pure performance, Microsoft have taken the time to create a great all-round entry-level laptop with enough performance for the majority of users out there. So enough of me rambling, let's see what's so special about this laptop. Well, in my opinion, this is a fantastic looking laptop and it's incredibly solid. It comes in a range of colours, this being the ice blue, and I think this looks absolutely amazing in person. And the lid and the deck are made out of aluminium, and the base plate, although plastic, feels like a really premium polycarbonate. It feels really nice to the touch. And it certainly feels like a laptop that's going to last. Now the ports are a little limited. We've got the Surface connector on the right side, and this provides the actual Surface Connect power or the Surface Connect dock. And if we spin it round to the left side, you can see we've got a USB-A port, a USB Type-C port and a headset jack. So although we haven't got a lot of ports on this obviously tiny laptop, the ports we've got give it a great range of use. We've got the USB-A ports for your legacy devices such as mice and keyboards and flash drives, and then we've got the much more versatile USB Type-C port which can be plugged into docks and monitors and providing access to all the ports that you're not going to get straight out of the gate on a tiny laptop like this. And this laptop is incredibly tiny and very light at only 1.1 kilograms or 2.4 pounds. Meaning this is a laptop that you can take absolutely anywhere with you. You can chuck it in a bag and hardly notice it's there. You can be using this on a plane or a train or one of those small university desks, and it will fit anywhere. It's such a lovely compact little device. And it actually reminds me of one of my favourite daily use laptops, which is the MacBook 12. Now although this MacBook 12 is years old now, it's still one of my favourite devices because it was so light and so tiny that I could just take it everywhere and do the jobs that most people do on the go, such as email, word processing, a little bit of Photoshop. And this feels like that MacBook 12, but has an awful lot more powerful than that laptop did. The hinge is sturdy and the screen opens easily with one hand, and there's not much wobble on the screen, which is great, because as this is a touchscreen, you don't want the screen wobbling around as you're using it. The deck is all aluminium and it feels lovely to the touch. And the trackpad, although it isn't the largest trackpad on a laptop, it's one of my favourite touchpads for a Windows laptop. The gestures are flawless, it tracks beautifully, it's just a lovely experience when using it on a laptop. Moving up to the keyboard, although this keyboard doesn't have any backlighting, it is one of my favourite keyboards to type on a laptop. You've got incredible travel, crisp actuation, a good keyboard layout, and it's just a lovely typing experience. And as I do a lot of typing, I can type away for ages comfortably on this laptop and really enjoy doing so on this lovely 12.4-inch package. And the speakers are also awesome for a laptop of this size. It'd be great for watching movies and podcasts. You could listen to music in a pinch, but I must admit I would prefer headphones. This is what the speakers sound like. Speaker test at 80% volume. Now the power button is inset into the keyboard, and it does actually include Windows Hello finger recognition, and that's worked flawlessly for my time using the laptop. And one of the nice features is it does actually light up when you're not logged in, so you can easily find, even if you're in the dark, where the actual finger recognition is. Now moving up to the display, it's a PixelSense 3x2 touchscreen display. Now, I love the aspect ratio. 3x2 is absolutely amazing for productivity and work. Not so great if you just watch movies or play games, but obviously for a laptop like this, you're probably going to be using it for mostly web surfing and work, and 3x2 is excellent for that. Now it's not the best resolution at 1536 by 1024, but given this is only a 12.4-inch display, everything still looks incredibly sharp, and I can happily read text and use this laptop on a day-to-day basis comfortably with the screen. It is also very glossy, being a touchscreen display, but it gets bright enough that I can use it in bright environments without it being uncomfortable or glare taking over. So overall, great panel for use on this entry-level machine. Above the screen, we've got the webcam, which looks and sounds like this. And this is a test of the camera and the microphones on the new Microsoft Surface Laptop Go 2. So now then, let's take a look at performance. Now, if you're going to buy one of these laptops, do not buy the entry-level model with only 4GB of RAM. 4 GB of RAM is painful in Windows 11. You're soon going to start hitting the SSD swap file. It may be tempting with the entry-level starting price, but spend that little bit extra and get the 8 GB model. Now, it does also come in with only a 128 GB SSD, which isn't going to go very far, but you can specify this with higher SSD models in this laptop from Microsoft. But obviously, Microsoft do charge an arm and a leg for SSDs. But the SSD in this machine is upgradable, but it isn't the easiest to get to. It's got a 30mm M.2 SSD in here, but unfortunately you've got to pry off the actual rubber feet that are glued to the base, and then once you've unscrewed a few screws, you've got to unclip the base plate from this machine, and they are held on tight with plastic clips, which are very easy to break. So it's not for the faint-hearted, but if you want to do that yourself, you can just change the 30mm SSD for a much higher capacity one. Now, although this Intel CPU is a generation behind now, this is the 1135G7 CPU that's also found in the Surface Pro 8 and the Surface Pro 7 Plus. It's still a great CPU, and the great news is this machine is pretty quick still, and it almost keeps up with that Surface Pro 8 in CPU performance. It's only a little bit behind on the multi-core scores, and I think that's mostly because the thermal system isn't quite as good in this machine as the much more premium Surface Pro 8. But when we compare it against the Surface Laptop 4 with its base level Ryzen chip, this is much faster, both in CPU performance and in the actual Intel Iris Xe graphics performance. Now, the Intel Xe graphics on this device performs as well as the Surface Pro 8 does, and much better than the Ryzen in the Surface Laptop 4. It's going to be great for some light Photoshop, for some light 3D work, multimedia, and obviously all your office use. I wouldn't want to be using this for heavy 3D rendering or video editing, but this machine isn't designed for those uses. But the good news is you can do some light gaming on here. You could play some CSGO, Rocket League, or Dota, and this performs amazingly. It will boost to 25 watts initially, and after just over a minute, it will start coming down and stabilize at 15 watts, which for a laptop of this size is great performance, and you don't get any nasty throttling spikes, so you get constant long-term gameplay through this laptop. And playing a few long matches of Dota, I really enjoyed my experience on this. The fan runs really quietly and never becomes overpowering like most gaming laptops, and it doesn't get overly hot, with a little bit of heat on the base, and the keyboard does get a little bit warm. But overall, a really comfortable light gaming experience if you get a little downtime. Now, battery life is also good, with just under 8 hours in our usual YouTube stream test over Wi-Fi at 200 nits of brightness. So for a small device like this, that's pretty impressive. And also, whilst using it on battery, it feels as responsive as if you're using it on mains. And that's something I really like with these laptops, because very often laptops to get good battery life will really throttle the performance. This felt great using it on battery. Now, when it comes to charging, we get the Microsoft Connect charger. Now, I really like this. We've got the magnetic tip, which makes it very easy to connect and to pull away from the laptop. And this may well save your device if someone yanks on your cord, because this will pop out rather than pull your laptop off a table. And not only that, this is the same generation of charger they've been using for a few years now, so it's very easy to source a spare or a replacement should you want to. But also, because we've got the USB-C port with power delivery, you can also power it from a power bank, a USB-C charger, or a USB-C dock or monitor. So making this a very versatile machine. So I have to say, I've been incredibly impressed with this little machine. I use an awful lot of laptops, but on a day-to-day, I really like to have a 12 or 13-inch laptop that I can take everywhere with a good keyboard and screen, speakers and battery life, and this does that, and it won't break the bank. This is a perfect machine to pick up if you're a university student or somebody like me who does a lot of writing or emails on the go. You'll chuck this in your bag, you won't hardly notice it's there, and it's such a premium feeling package for the price you're paying for this. This really is an excellent little laptop. So I have to say this machine has completely exceeded my expectations, especially for the actual price I paid for it. And I'm going to be keeping this, I think, for my day-to-day use. But as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this laptop. What do you think? Do you think Microsoft has hit the price point and the mark with this laptop? Or do you think this is too little too late and they should have gone for the 12th gen? Pop your comments down below. I will get back to you. And as always, thanks for watching.